Hey, Democrats, you're in a hate cult. See, instead of having a charismatic leader, a hate cult coalesces around their shared hatred. And if anybody who's in the cult says anything like, oh, well, he's not that bad or anything like that, they're out. Okay? If anybody who's famous has a little common sense and says, hey, this might be a good idea what he's doing, they're out. They get kicked out. You recommend to each other that you cut yourself off from all family and friends. Not even the ones who, like me, who talk about politics all the time, but any of them, all of them. If you think they voted the wrong way, they have to go. That is a cult. And you don't hate Donald Trump. He's just the face of what you hate. You hate America. See, you thought that Barack Obama had pulled off the fundamental transformation of the United States of America, but we stepped in 2016, and the machine in D.C. went to work trying to take down our choice for president.
I'm going to let this gentleman cook. Trust me, but we got to get into this one because this was a little triggering for me, I'll be honest. So some of y'all may have caught me somewhere in the midst of my journey, right? But how I got to this place, simply put, is November 4th, 2024, just last year, I came out of the conservative closet, what I like to call the CC conservative closet. And I did so in an unassuming way. I didn't do it on purpose. To be honest with you, if you had asked me, are you ready to come out as a full-blown conservative, especially being somebody who was already on social media, had, a relative following on IG and things of that nature. And a lot of my audience, turns out, were actually a lot of liberals. Now, I did not used to speak on politics. I was afraid to say my whole truth at that time, right? It was almost accidental how I got to that point. I posted a little comedic type of video where basically I was like sitting back like this, leaning back, and the sound in the back was a person, having one of those liberal meltdowns. And at the top, I said, when you tell them you voted for Trump or something of that nature. And let's just say in the span of 3 days, I lost around 1,500 followers on my IG. And I maybe at the time had 40K or 30 something, 38, 39K. I lost 1,500 followers like this. I had an onslaught of just message after message, DMs, people losing their stuff. I wasn't going in the way that y'all used to be going in. Not even close. It was the first time I really felt that impact outside of my own inner circle, my family nucleus. At that point, I told my brother a day before who I'd be voting for, not knowing that, he essentially would cut me off like he did most of the other family for different reasons. I'll let him have that. I'll let him have, that sort of privacy. But, he ends up essentially cutting me off, telling me, well, we'll see. Maybe one day he'll talk to me. And then he kind of disappeared. I have no idea where he is at this very moment. It's sad, but that's a decision that adults have to make. Mind you, this is an older brother, about 6 years older than myself. So anyway, I'd felt that. But even years before, when I'd first come out about my opinions, as early as 2018, there was a fight that me and my brother had at Christmas time. It was on Christmas Day, actually. We had a very, very small Christmas, still back in California with the fam bam. And after that back and forth with my brother, trying to defend DJT and essentially state that they were lying on him, I just kind of shut down. And I was like, I'm never going to speak on these things again, especially being in the Bay Area. It was a hot button subject. I mean, once Trump got in office, everybody was on eggshells. Everybody, especially if you believed anything other than the narrative. Everybody around me posted the black squares during the George Floyd situation. Everybody. Even the churches there. My own personal youth church, they were having a whole segment about BLM, basically. It's that sort of woke environment. But again, I was having my own transformation. Anyway, fast forward. And, I'm now in a place where I not only recognize what the political left is or has digressed into, but, I'm also very vocal about it. And I've said this a multitude of times in some of my, I can say, quote unquote, older videos now, is that this is indeed a cult. Now, I never put the word hate cult. I love that, actually. I think that's brilliant. But yes, it is a hate cult driven by hatred, driven by resentment, driven by bitterness and envy, jealousy, victimhood. This is what underlies that entire cult-like ideology. These people don't actually believe what they believe. It's like, feminists, right? The so-called feminists, do they truly believe in the plight of women? No, because if they did, they wouldn't be standing up for pretend women, in order to virtue signal. And if they did care about women, they'd be standing up for the women in Iran right now, right? Standing up for the women in Sudan, standing up for the women in Congo, standing up for the women throughout the entire third world, underdeveloped world. They would be standing up for their rights. They'd be standing up for the women within these Muslim totalitarian Islamic regimes. They would be standing up for them. They would be fighting for these women who are having their lives taken because they won't cover themselves in veils. They'll be standing up for the women who are being beaten because they're wearing pants under their damn garb. You understand me? So I really got to get a taste of who these people were. First, I realized, okay, they're not the tolerance people. At some extent, I thought, okay, maybe it's because they care and they care so much, but they're misguided. Then I came to realize, no, they're just hate-filled. They want somewhere to direct their hatred. And I stopped it right here because when he referred to, how Trump is nothing more than just kind of the symbol. Even DJT said that, and I didn't get it when he first used to say it. They're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I didn't understand that. But now, I am absolutely red-pilled. Not that damn red pill, but, the red, white, and blue pill. We'll put it that way.
Then you spent 4 years while Bernie was in office trying to make sure he could never run again with all kinds of false accusations and false suits and kangaroo courts and liberal judges and all this kind of crap. Didn't work. We stepped up last November. Now you're really losing your minds. Now the hate cult is activated. You're super activated now. And it's not him. It's us and everything we stand for, which is America, which is the fundamental principles that this country was founded on. We don't hate. We don't hate. We don't cut ourselves off from the rest of the world or particularly our families. You do. You're in a hate cult, and there's no way around it. You can't see that because you're controlled. You're consumed by your hate. See? So you can keep telling us we're in a cult. You can keep recommending to our family members that they should never talk to us again. We're not the ones doing that. You are the ones exhibiting the cult-like behavior. Period. That's common sense.
That man was cooking. He cooked a gourmet meal. 5-star Michelin chef. Well done, sir. I agree with every single point there. I do. Again, seeing it with my own eyes. I mean, there's other family members who I necessarily wasn't as much in conversation with as, life is lifing, you are adulting and things of that nature. But some of them used to tap in with me every now and then. They are all MIA. Right. Some of them are afraid that, if they associate with me, what's that going to mean for them? These alleged Christians that, somehow live in perpetual fear of man's opinion, man's perspective on them. Yeah. It turns out that when you start to actually speak your real mind, there's going to be consequences. And I said this from the very beginning. It was actually one of the first, true impactful messages I put out on TikTok when I was no longer caring about the algorithm per se. And, it was a message to those who had lost friends and family during this strange shift that took place come November 5th, 2024. Right. I mean, you almost saw immediately. So I would have wondered, would they have cut their family members off if Trump had lost, which is impossible, literally. But, what would have happened if they had cheated him out another election? Would they have cut their moms, their fathers and sisters, brothers and best friends of 20, 30, 40 years? Would they have cut these individuals off if it had been the other way around? But the fact that it wasn't the other way around and they did showed me everything I needed to see. And I'm not the type who's going to hold you. Like, that's just not how I'm built. I'm really not. If you want to go, you can go. That's in any relationship format. I can love you from a distance, but I can also forget about you from that very same distance. But I'm not about to be manipulated. I'm not about to be coerced and forced into some ideology. And, there's a lot of cowardice out there, especially people who feel they have so much to lose, right? I'm a celebrity, I'm a public figure, I'm a this, and they're afraid to just tell the damn truth. And to me, you can be as smart as a whip, as sharp as a tack, but if you don't have the willingness to just say it how it is, like just, I can't mess with you. I'm good off that. I'm good. Because it probably means you're willing to lie. And if you're willing to lie, you're willing to deceive me in order to protect your own skin. I don't need that. Especially when you're at wartime and it's a spiritual, mental, psychological. I don't need that. I need folks on the front lines who are not afraid to just say it. Say the damn thing. No, I will not go with chemically castrating my kiddos. No, I will not call the taking of babies' lives, women's reproductive rights and fight for that right. Absolutely not. That is massacre. That is a genocide that is taking place. No, I will not stand with that. No, I won't hate the Jews with you. I won't wave your little silly flag. I won't do that. Nope. I won't burn my flag. I won't do that with you. I won't blame white people for all my problems. I will take personal accountability. I'm not down with it. I'm not going to post your black square. I didn't then. I won't now. I'm not going to pretend that there is not an issue within the pervading black culture in America. I'm not going to pretend that. I'm not going to pretend that it is the colonizer's fault that Africa is still in the place that it is. I'm not going to pretend that. And so my message is spawned from that place of I can't play pretend anymore. And sometimes it ends up sounding controversial. But guess what? The truth is usually the most controversial thing you can say, especially in a world that has fallen in love with lies and deceit. But I'm not the one. I'm not. So good for that man and good for everybody else who's standing up. Take a damn stand, So funny, the lefties have really occupied, all pun intended, that space of, take a stand, fight for a cause. And they turned me away and off of that idea until I realized, oh no, they just hijacked that. They usurped that. They're not standing for anything for real, right? They're just going along with whatever insanity is going to get them the most brownie points. But now it is time to take a stand. Now it is time to not be silent about certain things. Because when you let them co-opt the messaging, they co-opt the narrative and bully their way into these positions, that's when you have a 2020. That's when you have, what we've been experiencing for damn near the last 15 or so years, or damn near 20 years at this point. What is it? Obama's first term, 2008. My goodness. We're getting old, folks. We're getting old. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace. Aquarius. Where? I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep, I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me, I used to be the pleaser for the